everyone, it's Brandon Lewis with Verify, and we are in a celebratory mood to start off this week's episode because it's our 1-year Snapchat anniversary. So we wanted to take a moment and thank all of you who have watched over the past year. Your support means everything to us, and we're thrilled to be giving you the facts for a second year. With that, let's jump into this week's episode. Can you still contract COVID if you're vaccinated? Could it impact going back to school or seeing your favorite band live? And can you make out with a stranger if you're vaccinated? I know. For some of you, it seems like the pandemic is behind us. You're vaxxed, you're waxed, and you've ditched the mask. Well, I'm here to tell you to find that mask again. Pass that back to me. That's because the CDC is recommending everyone, including vaccinated people, wear masks indoors in areas with high COVID transmission rates. First, let me update you on these names you're hearing a lot about that sound like frat houses. There are several new variants of COVID trying to crash the party. There's Alpha, Beta, Delta, Lambda, Gamma. Where did they come from? The World Health Organization wanted to avoid stigmatizing regions based on where the variant was first detected. They went with the Greek alphabet letters instead. The variant that's got the attention of health agencies right now is Delta. In fact, a recent internal CDC document suggests Delta is as infectious as chickenpox for everybody, even people who are vaccinated. With that said, people who are vaccinated have much greater protection against Delta than people who are not. What does this all mean for you? Let's verify. Yes, vaccinated people can still contract COVID, but those breakthrough cases are usually rare and mild. Our sources are the CDC and the World Health Organization. This is not a surprise to health officials and scientists. The World Health Organization says no vaccine is 100% effective against infection. Here's what the CDC says, quote, COVID-19 vaccines are effective. However, a small percentage of people who are fully vaccinated will still get COVID-19 if they are exposed to the virus that causes it. And remember, those new indoor mask guidelines we mentioned earlier, those were updated because research suggests that even vaccinated individuals could contract and transmit COVID-19, even though vaccinations greatly reduce that risk and are still the most effective way to limit the spread. What does this mean for your love life? Let's jump right into it with this question from a viewer. They asked, can a fully vaccinated person give an unvaccinated person COVID through kissing? Our sources are Dr. David Sullivan, Dr. Stuart Ray, the Mayo Clinic, and the CDC. We can verify that, yes, it's possible for a vaccinated person who has COVID to spread it to an unvaccinated person through kissing. Here's what the Mayo Clinic had to say, quote, coming into contact with a person's spit through kissing or other sexual activities could expose you to the virus.
You're sharing close space with aerosols that would transmit it. So theoretically, yes.
But you do have more protection if you're vaccinated. Okay, so there's still a risk of spreading COVID-19, although that risk is much smaller if you're vaccinated. Now, let's talk about some of the things we couldn't do during the past year of lockdowns, like going to concerts and sporting events. Let's verify. Can venues require you to be vaccinated to see your favorite band or team? The answer is yes, they can make that mandate, but many are not right now. We have seen some instances in which people had to be vaccinated to go to a show. In June, the Foo Fighters played the first full-capacity show at Madison Square Garden since the start of the pandemic. The only people headbanging and throwing up their rock horns were vaccinated. But many venues and organizations are not requiring attendees to be vaccinated. That includes the NFL. If you're unsure about whether vaccinations are required at your next show or game, you can check with the venue. They'll be able to let you know if there's a vaccine mandate or other COVID safety rules, such as having to wear masks or having a negative COVID test. That's especially important as more cities like Kansas City, Atlanta, and DC enact mask mandates again. We've talked about this summer, but in case you didn't notice, it's August already, somehow. That means the start of school is just around the corner for many of you. And although the pandemic may not lead to the shutdowns we saw last school year, it's still affecting what this school year will look like. I'm sure you've seen the stories about colleges requiring students to be vaccinated, except in the cases of religious or medical exemptions. But is that something public universities can actually do? Again, we can verify, yes, they can in most states. A court ruling just came down on this very issue. 8 students sued Indiana University over its mandate, arguing the vaccine requirement violated their bodily autonomy and medical privacy. But a judge ruled the university has that right under the 14th Amendment to require vaccinations. but not all colleges have a vaccine mandate for students. In fact, some states, like Texas, have barred public universities from requiring students to be vaccinated against COVID-19. So it's important you check with your school to see what its vaccine rules are. And while you're at it, you can also ask about what mask rules, if any, are in effect. That's it for this week's episode of Verify. But before we go, we want to hear from you. What's that question that you just haven't been able to find an answer to? Or is there a topic you want to know more about? Let us know. We'll look into it and get answers for you, Verify style. Just text your questions to us at 202-410-8808. You can also send us your questions on social media. Find us at Verify This. And if you want more Verify, make sure you subscribe to our daily newsletter. You can find the link on our website, verifythis.com. I'm Brandon Lewis, and we'll be back next week with more facts.